Hi, welcome to the training today. Today I'll be going over the Title 31 application in regards to the exempt status of the customers. So there's been quite a few questions concerning the pulling the lists or generating a list of the exempt customers. So let me start here. I'm going to go to the people section here, people module. Click on view all. So in the your customer profiles, okay, if you look up towards the upper left here, where the status is set. Okay, so for example, this customer here is set to active. You can choose from the drop-down list, and you could choose exempt. Okay, and that will set the customer to be exempt, and you'll see this green flashing visual alerts here telling you that this particular customer is has an exempt status. Okay, now the general background information regarding exempting customers from the CTRs and SAR filings according to FINCEN is that the casino have to actually initiate that, and you have to submit an application for exemption to FinCEN on behalf of the customer. So the customer themselves, they can't request an exemption. Only the casino can do that on behalf of the customer. Okay. Now, regardless if you set any customer to the exempt status, based off of their transactions, you have to remember one key point, and that key point is that even if they have an exempt status, you still must, and you're still required to report the CTRs and SAR transactions that are suspicious. If you suspect them of money laundering, terrorist financing, or any other illegal activity, you still must file a CTR or a SARS, okay, for that customer. So just because they have an exempt status doesn't mean you exclude them entirely. Okay, so you want to always keep that in mind. Okay, the exempt status that you file on behalf of the customer merely states that the business relationship that you have with this particular customer, or it could be a vendor as well. You have a normal relationship with them. It's a legitimate business transaction. Okay, so I'll always keep that in mind based on this. Now, the way to submit an application is listed on FinCEN's website. I'll just give you a general rundown of it. Okay, so the way that most casino should do is where when you're filing a CTR, not a CTR, an application to exempt a customer, the very first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you have. Let me go to the report section here. Okay, and we're gonna do the transaction by. We're gonna run this report transaction by ID, by date range. Okay, so I'll choose this customer ID number 2, and I'm just gonna put in some wide range dates just to get all the data out of my system here. Let's go 5/5 or something like that, just to pull everything out. Okay, so when you submit your application for exemption of a customer, you want to make sure that you include all of the transactions, such as, for example, this sample customer here. You'll see that when I run this report here, it pulls all the transactions that this customer is involved in the casino. So you'll see the gaming day, transaction type, transaction count, the total amount, and it'll list the transactions here. Okay, so for example, on this particular gaming day here, 10/24/27/2024, we had 2 transactions. The total amount was 11,999.87, and it was conducted on this date here, and this date here, this time here, and this time here for these amounts here. Okay, so you must establish a procedure. Okay, and usually it starts with either the cage, slots, table games. They submit the request to the gaming commission, and the gaming commission looks at the data. They analyze the data, and then they can submit that over to FINCEN. Okay, it's usually done by the day-to-day Title 31 compliance officer. Okay, with approval from gaming commission and also the casino management team. Okay, so you submit that to FINCEN, then FINCEN could approve it or disapprove it, and then make sure you save that document. And you want to add that document. Go back to my people module here, view all. Okay, and you want to make sure that you document all of that information inside the document section of that particular customer. So for example, we're going to add a new one here, and I'm going to say let's say FINCEN approval letter. Okay, so make sure you save all your documentations from the casino commission, from FINCEN, either approving or disapproving to make a customer exempt from the CTR and SAR filing. Okay, so we're going to attach a file here, and I'm just going to attach a sample form here. Application for FINCEN reporting. I'll say OK. You can view that. Click on View File here. Okay. So you want to make sure you have all your documentations, and then you can submit that to FINCEN for approval. FINCEN approves it, save that documentation, and then you can set this particular customer status to exempt. Okay, so that is usually the normal process. Every casino is a little bit different. They have a different process for adding or categorizing each customer's class. You know, either they're active, excluded from the inside the Title 31 software. They're inactive, which means this customer is no longer visiting the casino, either if they have passed away or for other reasons, and if they're pending a decision, okay, or they're exempt. So you can add the exempt to this list right here. If you don't have this on your list, your status list on the drop-down list here, you can add that to on the admin side. Okay, so you log into the admin module, and then you can modify these options here. Okay, so for this customer here, this example that I'm going to show you here, I'm going to set this customer status to exempt. And anytime that you set a customer's status to exempt, you're going to see this green visual marker that blinks here. Okay, and that gives you a visual alert that when you pull up or a customer's information, you'll see that they're exempt from CTR and the SARS filing. Okay, if I navigate to my other customers here, you'll see that this customer here also has an exempt status, and these other ones don't. Okay. Okay, so we're going to close out of that here. Now, here I only have about 6, 7, 8 customer for my test data here. So on your end, if you click on the Reports and More module here, under the People module, you'll see that there's these reports here. Okay, so these people reports here, if you're running the older version, you won't see these 3 reports here. All the 2025 version of the software, it has these 3 additional reports here. So I'm going to generate off of the first report here. Okay, the exempt all report. So when you generate this report here, make this a little bigger so it's easier to see here. Okay, this will list all of your exempt customers. Okay, you get the general information, and then you get some general information underneath of them. In the end of the report, you get a total count. Okay, so in a real life scenario, you won't have just 6 to 8 customers. You're gonna have hundreds, if not thousands, of customers listed inside your database over time. Okay, so you generate these reports. It'll give you a good list of it. It'll pull that data from your database system, and then it'll add that in. Okay, I'm gonna skip the middle report here. I'm gonna go to the end report here, which is the all exempt profile. I'll click on that. This report also generates a list of the exempt customers, and let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Okay, this report is a little bit different. It's gonna filter for all the status exempt. Okay, and it's gonna list a little bit more information here. Okay, and if I navigate to the next page, it'll give me the other another customer's detail here, and then it'll give you a record count. Okay, what these exempt reports don't show you is the transactions and the SARS filing. Okay, these reports here just merely give you a quick list of all the customers that are exempt from CTRs and SARS. Okay, if you want the reports regarding their transactions, you want to go to the reports module. Okay, on here you can do their transactions. The CTRs filed it, if you file any CTRs for them, to the BSA reporting website. Any SARS filing, and did you file any SARS with the BSA website? And these two last reports here are for the MILs. Okay, so let's go into the transaction here. We're going to generate this, and we're going to use the employee number 2, the customer number 2. We'll do a date range again, and use some Y range dates just to get everything out. Okay, so these are the CTRs and the SARS transactions and reportings. These are your main reports, okay, that you want to generate out, and then you can analyze the data to see if there's anything suspicious that you can identify here based on your data and analysis here. Okay, I'm gonna close out of here. Okay, and I'm gonna go back to the people module here. Okay, so once again, you can set the status by choosing these on the status here. You could choose exempt. Okay, and these visual alerts are really helpful, because if you're panning through, for example, if you're panning through hundreds of customers, it's very easy to notice that visual alerts there that's blinking. So it give you it automatically tell you that this person is an exempt. Okay, and I'll close out of that, and I'll go back to the reports module here under the people module. Okay, so once again, set your alerts inside the status to exempt inside the customer profile. Okay, and you could generate these reports here to get a list of all the customers that are exempt from CTRs and SARS. Okay, and then the middle report here, I'll show you this also. So the middle report here, it pulls the exempt, it filters for exempt customers, but with the filters a little bit different here. So for example, I'm going to put in some Y range dates. These will pull information from the reasons section of the employee module. Okay, so I'm going to put in some Y range dates so you can see what comes up. And I nothing there. Let me try it again. Okay, we're gonna filter by date, so let's say 2000 here and 2099 or something here. And I don't get anything out of this here. Let's see, try it again. I might not have any data here. I probably don't have any data. Okay, so let me go back to the view all here, and I'll show you here. So what that report is pulling is pulling from here. Okay, from the reason section. Okay, it'll give you general information as well, but it's gonna pull data from here. So for example, let me go to the here exception. Oh, is okay. I gotta change this to the let me I didn't change on my sample here. I didn't have the exemption there, so let me change that. I'm gonna put that to exemption, and I'm gonna go back to the other one here. Okay, and I'm gonna go to here. I'm gonna add a new entry here. Okay, so these are the exclusion reasons. So if you exclude an employee, or not employee, a customer, you wanna put their data here in date, and I'm gonna choose the. I need to modify this list on the admin side. Let's put exempt. Okay, and let's say we'll do that for me, and reason is exempt from CTR and SAR. Okay, and a review date, we can just put today's date. Okay, and approved it by saying how here. Okay, all right. So what the software does when you run that report is that it's going to look at the exclusion reasons. Okay, so for example, if you exempt this customer, they have an exempt status. 6 months later, some of the transactions are very suspicious, so you revoke that status. Okay, to let's say active exclusion or just pending a decision. Okay, and then later on you come back and this person, you do your investigation. This person is their transaction is not suspicious, is considered normal again. You set their status to exempt again. You would document it down here again. Okay, so this is a record of their exclusion. Why are you excluding this person from either doing business inside the casino, okay, or having them as an exempt status? Okay, you would document these here. So there's a very important note here. Okay, these reasons here, it's gonna be included in the exclusion type. Okay, so what you always want to do is, let me go back here, transactions, reasons here. I'm gonna move this exempt to the very top. Okay, and we can do that by the exclusion date here, or we can do it by the ID. I'm gonna filter it to the exclusion date here, newest to oldest. Okay, and let me click away from it here. Okay, so you'll notice that the general information here tab is going to pull from the very first exclusion reason. Okay, if they're exempt, it's gonna pull that here. If I put my cursor here, you'll see that change. Okay, so I'm gonna save and exit, and I'm gonna go back into that view all, and this is just, you'll see that the exclusion is exempt. Okay, and it's pulling from the very first line here. Okay, so you can have multiple exclusion records. Make sure you have whichever one you want it to appear in the general information tab here. Okay, have it as listed as the very first line. Okay, all right, let's go back to that report we were trying to run earlier here in the people module. Okay, I'm gonna run that middle report there so you can see. Okay, so what this report does is it pulls from that reason list. Okay, and we'll put in some wide range date just to get everything out of there. Okay, and there we go. Okay, now there's a few reasons for this report here. Okay, this report looks at the reason records. Okay, and it looks for the exempts only. It excludes everything else. Okay, because this is just for the exempt report. It wants to know what the report tells you is that the person's status is exempt, and it also lists all the exempt documentations that you have with that. Okay, how many times have they been exempt? Okay, with records of the exempt status inside the reason section. Okay, so you're gonna have multiples, and for a customer that has multiples, you really want to look at those individual. Why were they taken off and why were they added back on? What was the reason? What was their suspicious transactions? Were they conducting involved in a fraud case? Okay, so that's why this report is very useful. When you have 10 customers, it's easy to go through those profiles, but when you have 100 or you have 1,000 customers inside the database system, you want to quickly generate a report and pull all that data where you can see, and then you can evaluate just the customers that are might have some kind of an exempt status that maybe they're not supposed to have an exempt status. Okay, so you can compare this also to the other reports as well, the exempt reports as well. You'll see that if I pull the exempt all report, it lists the same thing, but it includes all of the other reasons as well. Okay, for exclusion and exempt status. Okay, so it's very similar to the first report. The first report just shows you everything. The second one, it just shows you the exempts. Okay, and the dates, of course. Okay, and then begin date and end date. And usually for most casino, they have a review date, such as prior to the let's say they exempt this, and this is also part of FINCEN's requirement as well. I believe currently for exempt status customers, the casinos are required to review their status every year. Okay, so that's one of the requirements. That is an annual review. So the fields are on the employee profile. You can document that there, but for all the employees, all the customers that are exempt, you need to review their file. Okay, and that's the annual, on an annual basis. So thus it has the begin date and end date. Okay, and then of course the last report is the profile report with the customer's photograph, so you can see that, and then general information. Okay, and then of course for all their detail CTR transactions, you can go to the report section and run those reports from there for the particular customer. Okay, so that is the training in regards to the exempt status, setting an exempt status and generating reports, exempt reports for the customers, and that would be the end of the training. I can't think of anything else that would be related to this, other than if you don't have the exempt on the drop down list here, you can manually type it in, or you can add it onto the admin side. And let me show you how to do that. I'll log into the admin section here. Okay, and we're going to go to exclusion correction here. Okay, and we're going to go to the, I believe it's the status here, and then you can add it here. Okay, you can add a new one as well, and it'll end up on that drop down list there. Let's say I'll just do a sample here. I'll just put 1 2 3 4. Okay, close out of my admin section, go back to my people, view all. You'll see I added that to my drop down list. Okay, and then to remove that, you'll go through the same thing, admin section. All the default login passwords are 1 2 3 4. Okay, go back to my exclusion, and there's a lot of commands on the admin side. You can pretty much modify, if not all of the drop down lists on the inside of all the modules. So the admin side holds a lot of control over that. Okay, so other than that, that's the training for the exempt status setting and generating a exemption list based off of all your customers. And I know some in California, I don't believe they have that requirement for casinos to submit that to the state. That's usually just submitted to the to the federal side, to FINCEN. I do remember, not clearly, but I do remember a few of the states up north. I mean, it's either Oregon or Washington, but some of the casinos, based on their compacts, they have to submit the exemption list of reporting financial transactions, such as CTRs and SARs, to the state gaming regulators. So that was in mind when this application was created as well. So that will help you just automatically generate a quick list for them if you need to, and plus all the documentation that you have as well. Okay, view here. So this is just a sample form that I just created, application for exemption. So other than that, that is the training for the Title 31 exempt status setting and generating reports. I hope this training really helps you on how to set employees and the process, and designing your own process on filing an exemption for on a customer's behalf to FINCEN. And if you don't have that policy, you can design that policy based on the information that I kind of gave you here. It usually starts from the casino operation side that deals directly with the customers, and they can submit an application for exemption, and then to gaming commission or casino management. Casino management can push that over to gaming commission, and the gaming commission can review that, and then the Title 31 compliance officer can submit that over to FINCEN for approval, and then FINCEN can reply with the approval or disapproval. Then you can add those documents and make sure you save all those documents. FINCEN requires you to save all documents and data for 5 years, so you want to save that into your databases, and most casinos save it for much longer than that, probably 10 or odd years or more before they archive their data. But that's the general process that you will follow, and this is how you can track those that process inside your Title 31 application here. Okay, so I hope this training helped you, and if if you have any other questions, submit that to us, and we'll combine that and make another training video, and we can post that on the website so that everybody can reference to, especially new users. They can put up the window, and they can go through the same process and learn that process, and they can add that process internally, and also add that into that training skills into use inside the application here. Okay, other than that, thank you for attending the training, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.